Basic excitement, basic enthusiasm, getting impact, a planet, a celestial object, being somewhere in the solar system, and that placement and position in the solar system is on a mathematical forefront and some type of alignment to disalignment to the planet Earth. The solar system and the planet Earth, the different contexts of the solar system, they're affecting Earth and all the other planets. So it's a beautiful day. And I say that because the solar system is affecting the Earth in such a way where the solar system is such a way, it's set up and arranged in such a way where somehow the astrology, before the astrology was the meta astronomy most respectively, and within that meta astronomy, those element placements, that's what's detailing modern astrology, is from the meta astronomy most respectively, because the elements are making some type of subject for the zodiac constellations to be what they are. And as they are what they are, that's in some type of context of a solar system. And that solar system, all the planets in the different contexts of the solar system, they're either further away from the Earth or more closer to the Earth. And one context of the solar system, the Admin-Cadman body, it's organized where certain elements are in certain places, and those certain places, they have their own field of elements and energies, and the Earth and the Sun and the Moon could be something as a forefront for the humans, right? Because where the Sun and the Moon and the Earth, they're close to the Earth because the humans are living on the Earth. So there's planets that are further away from the Earth. So within the planets that are further away and closer to the Earth, that's in one context of the solar system, and those planets being in one context of the solar system are representing and carrying the energy embodiment of certain, or the energy signature of certain quote unquote zodiac constellation signs, domains of particular energies arranged by different original godheads, and that is affecting the weather before the surface level astronomy shit. So I say that because the certain planets are in a certain place of the solar system, right? So if certain planets are in the certain place of the solar system, right, those planets being in a certain spot in the solar system could be caught up in like a certain dimension within the solar system, a basic science context definition of dimension. Because obviously dimension can mean different things too, obviously. So within all of that stuff, the moon and the sun, they're in a certain part of the solar system, and those constellations have different fields within their own spectrum, obviously, respectively. And the moon and the sun are in that, the moon and the sun that are closer to the Earth, they're in areas within the solar system that are corresponding to Earth. Moon in Gemini, sun in Libra. But all the planets could be in any constellation, but some planets are further away from the Earth. So Jupiter's in Gemini. You could look at Jupiter as being something as just in a certain axis, AXIS. So there's a certain axis parameter within how certain celestial objects are further away from the Earth, and some are closer to the Earth. And as they're further and closer away, that kind of represents a whole different energy based on where they're at. Because, quote unquote, for example, Jupiter, that microcosm Jupiter being in Gemini, that could just be the microcosm of Jupiter, right? And that microcosm in Jupiter, it's in a certain place in the solar system. And that certain place in the solar system, Jupiter is in the constellation of Gemini. That's low-key beaming that energy to Earth based on the clock and the calendar of the solar system itself. So that clock in the solar system, we're receiving a certain type of energy dynamic from that celestial object energy planet being in one context of the solar system, and we're receiving that energy on the Earth, right? So if certain celestial objects are in certain places within the solar system, trines could happen, different aspects could happen, trines could happen, squares could happen, sextiles could happen, conjunctions could happen based on the celestial objects, on what they're doing in a different solar system. And right now the moon and the sun are trining air. So that air dynamic within the solar system, that air dynamic is hitting the earth, right? And the earth is feeling a certain energy signature region of just basic air stuff from how the solar system is housing the planets. And as the solar system is housing the planets are absorbing the energy signatures of the constellations, and it's depositing that to the earth. So the moon is embodying Gemini stuff right now. The yin and yang relationship is Gemini is impacting the moon, and the moon is impacting Gemini. So that's a casual example of a yin and yang dynamic, because obviously the yin and yang dynamics, they could mean different things in different contexts, of course. So we're only, our comprehension is barely beginning to understand how we're getting impacted from a certain portion and a certain space-time parameter from certain planets affecting the Earth. So within the solar system being lit up in such a way, the sun has its own calendar. The sun is in a calendar where it has its own precession, where the sun is kind of like showcasing the energy signature within the organization of 12 within the solar system, because the solar system, it's housing the sun, and the solar system could have a higher sun. It could have a whole different sun, because the sun, it could be like the center of a microcosm solar system respectively, and then a higher sun, the solar system could be revolving around a whole different sun. So within the microcosm solar system and the microcosm sun, the sun is it's touching upon a certain space in how the solar system is organized in portions of 12. So within portions of 12, somehow there's this energy theme of how within the solar system, on a just an energetic pattern level, that the solar system is divided into 12, and that has its own organization. And within that division of 12, somehow within a different higher negentropic self-organization, a different higher negentropy, celestial negentropy. Negentropy, the definition of negentropy is self-organization. That's why I incited negentropic human design, because it's the irony there is we're leaning towards the intuition to organize it. All of us are collectively gathering, we're all practicing our own individual strategy and authority eventually to then have some type of negentropy, some harmonic self-organization. That's the whole higher octave of negentropy is, because the predecessor scientists, they could try to teach us what negentropy is, and that could do different things and mean different things for us respectively. So in one context, negentropic human design is a human design that ironically and intuitively self-organizes itself, perhaps, that or not quality. Perhaps it could, within good timing or not, if the collective, intelligence and the collective harmonics of the collective intuition is there to lean towards that. Based on the higher octave, exalted principles of all the keynotes and insights that human design is pointing to, because the human design is pointing to certain particular keynotes and insights. Human design itself has its own particular insights and keynotes. They have their like, because obviously you'll hear the word keynote, right? Keynote this, keynote that. The human design, within my intuitive negentropic lens of it, it has their own subset of keynotes and insights, and it's either those keynotes and insights, they could be exalted or they can't be exalted. And if they can't be exalted because some type of energy of the individual not self or the collective not self has some type of unconscious ignorance to lean towards the non-exalted part, and the unconscious gates that you have, that's the feminine body. It's just automatically installed. The red lines in the chart, that's the unconscious self, respectively, if I'm correct on that fact. And that unconscious self, we just do it. The feminine unconscious body, it just does it. It doesn't have to think about it. So all the unconscious gates in your chart, that's kind of the feminine body doing what it does. It doesn't have to think about it. It's just already in your bio hardware to do that, right? So this is Negentropic human design, and once the Instagram gets cleaned up, you'll see it a little more. But I don't know, like I have to like try to, you know, people like say monetize this, monetize that. I'm not necessarily concerned with it because it's a whole different purpose, passion, and just kind of fluid stream of doing this stuff. So so our unconscious doesn't know that we have an unconscious, you know, because that's the unconscious. So the unconscious doesn't know it has an unconscious, but just because the unconscious doesn't know it has an unconscious, that doesn't mean the unconscious isn't there. The unconsciousness is still there, and it's up to us for this conscious self, the surface level, you know, sun intelligence mind ego, for it to go back to the body after it does its society missions to then see how it is and why it is what it is, pretty much. And I can, and you know, put that in a lyric, you know, as it's already done, etc. So so the earth has an energetic impact of the energetic no choice. The energetic no choice of just seeing. We're impacted by the moon. We're impacted by the different combinations of interactions. We're impacted by just different impacts. And as we're impacted by different impacts, let me crack this open real quick. The moon and the sun, it's careful to note that they're more nearby the earth, and it's more of a concern with us because the whole water body, one component of the moon is also curating the energy of the water, respectively, metaphysically. So within that, the moon and the sun, it's trining the air qualities, and now we could have basic excitement and basic enthusiasm of how we receive knowledge and how we could change with constructive knowledge. Moon and Gemini, we're getting basic excitement just to know something new. Gemini stuff. Basic excitement. And within that, Gemini is impacting the moon. Somehow the Gemini constellation is impacting respectively the ocean too, and our water body. So that whole air dynamic, we're receiving that, trying to, like, you know, we can know how we're impacted. Moon and Gemini, we're impacted. We can know how we're impacted. Moon and Gemini, we're impacted by Gemini qualities. Gemini impacting the moon, and within that, the moon is pretty quick with its own processions on how it's curating the water body, because that's the moon technology. It has to, like, it's catered towards the element of water itself. So since it's catered towards the element of water itself, the moon, that, like, and I do a different podcast on how the moon is kind of like its own thing, and you have to go back to that thing. But pretty much moon and sun it's trining, and the whole Aquarius thing, a different context of the solar system. And let me crack this open real quick, so there's a low-key certain context of a grand trine, right? Because the new age is in some type of field of Aquarius, right? So a particular macrocosm is in Aquarius, like a whole different solar system, a different context of a solar system is in Aquarius, the age of Aquarius. So there's a grand trine. It's a whole different celestial object. We're in the age of Aquarius, a certain different context of the solar system, and that's being deposited on the earth. The sun is in Libra and the moon is in Gemini. So we're feeling the surface level, you know, the masculine solar system that's going outward, the sun, and that being focalized in Libra, and that moon and the sun is having a grand trine to the new age of Aquarius. So that's a grand trine. So the air is so there's a grand trine respectively. And what that grand trine is it's a completion of how the air is being kind of like perfected respectively. So the air itself, let me drink this real quick. So the air itself, and obviously I respect all the religions out there, and I do my best to understand all the religions, But that doesn't negate the fact that there's some type of change that's occurring, and particular correct intelligence, because anybody could use intelligence however they want. I mean, anybody could use religion however they want. It's not what you do, it's how you do it in a casual way. So I just wanted to kind of say that, you know, and then like the different contexts of the solar system, the microcosm of Jupiter, there could be a higher self of Jupiter that goes beyond this solar system. So like the moon conjuncting Jupiter and Gemini, we're just feeling into like, you know, this whole grandiose competition. This, because Jupiter low-key is competition and ritual most respectively. And within this competition, we have the chance in the new intelligence just to see where we stand pretty much. So that's all I wanted to say. I'll be back because I feel like I completed this message. And the message was the grand trine in the age of Aquarius of perfecting air pretty much in an esoteric way. And I'll be back because obviously like I try to be like intuitively precise with like what I'm trying to say within the subject, and I just wanted to speak about the grand trine in the grand trine of the moon and the sun, moon in Gemini, sun in Libra. Sun in Libra, there's a gate in Libra, work on what has been spoiled, you know, work on what has been spoiled. So like we could see like within going towards the sun traveling through different parts of the solar system, and the sun representing the solar system to be to like redefine the character of the solar system itself based on how there's a whole different play. Sometimes within the play something could be spoiled, you know, for whatever energetic reason. Something could just get messed up, something could just get quote unquote effed up, right, end quote. And Libra is going to point that out because there's a gate in Libra, work on what has been spoiled. So we're going to see the different I Ching gates within the Libra constellation. We're going to work within that. We're going to embody the consciousness of the sun in Libra. And as we embody the consciousness of the sun in Libra, Libra has certain I Ching gates, and we could embody and relate to how things could just get naturally messed up and then rejuvenated and revitalized with unique solutions, with collective teamwork, right? And, you know, may I come back more organized, obviously. And thank you for riding these, like, you know, quote unquote rough waves with me, end quote, if you so to choose to entertain to do that, right? So thank you very much. I will be back. So the grand trine in so it's a grand air trine in the thank you.